Okay, I'm going to analyze question 2 of the practical exam. That is paper 1. The papers I'm using is 2018, 2020 and 2021. I'll start off with 2018 and go to the memo. Okay, so question 2 consists of 2 parts. First one is the SQL and the second part is the Adotables. So in the SQL section you are not allowed to use any Adotables, and in the Adotable section you are not allowed to use SQL. Another thing is you are not allowed to use built-in functions in Delphi. Okay, and they do state that in the instructions. Okay, you're not allowed to use any built-in functions that's in Delphi. Okay, so let's go to the 2018 one. I'm going to do the SQL first. Okay, so the first question, you needed to select all your fields from table employees, order by the surname in ascending order. So this is a quite low level SQL. The first one, quite easy. Let's check the second question paper. Again, it was select everything from table employees, order by. This time you had to order by first according to the job title and then according to the hourly wage, and you were supposed to set the second one in a descending order. So this 2021 is a little bit more complicated than 2018 one, because you had to set it or to order it by 2 fields, and the one was supposed to be descending. Okay, let's have a look at 2021. Okay, select not all the fields. Select club name, club town, from table clubs, where the province. So now first one you need a where clause. Where the province is equals to GP and the SA affiliated is equals to true. So this is a boolean field, this was a string field. So in this one there's no order by. So the first two had order by. This one just as a straightforward where clause. Nothing too funny there. I do think this one is a little bit more difficult than the first 2 question papers. Let's go to question 2.2. Okay, select surname, first name, children, from table employees where children is bigger than 3 and permanent is equals to true. So I would basically say that's quite similar to this one. Okay, this one says select employee ID, last name, first name, from table employees where the job title. Now we use the word like, so there's wildcards in this one. Okay, there's the first wildcard, there's the second wildcard. So it is a little bit more complicated than the previous question. This one was quite straightforward. Now we need to use wildcards. This one, select member name, member surname, birth date, from table members, where the year, so you need to take out the year out of the birth date field, where the year is equals to 2002. So now with this second one you need to know the year function. Okay, let's continue. 2.1.3, select payment number, ID number from employees. Now with this one you need to make selection from multiple tables, so you need to show the link between the 2 tables. So the primary key is the employee number and the foreign key is the employee number, and you still need to set it where the payment date is equals to this date. Okay, so this one is quite expected. I always expect them to ask you to select fields out of multiple tables. Okay, and then you need to specify the link between the 2 tables. They used an alias over here, made table employees E, table payments P, and then you don't need to write out the whole table name. You can just say E dot employee number and P dot employee number. 2.1.3, yeah. Select distinct, that means like select unique job title from table employees. So I don't think that's too complicated. 2.1.3, yeah. Member name, member surname, member name from table clubs. So again, with this one, there's a selection out of multiple tables. So this one had that query, and the 2021 had the same query. And table clubs, club name is equals to, I assume it was something that was entered in an edit box or an input box somewhere. Okay, so you needed to get data from the user. Okay, so it's a dynamic query, and it was from more than one table. 2.1.4. Now we need to make changes to the database. So in this case, it was a delete from table payments where payment number is equals to 110. This one, again, a delete statement. So it's already a delete in 2018 and in the 2020 question paper. Delete from table hours log where hours worked is equals to 99. This one is not a delete, it's an update statement. To update table members, set member name to Ainsley where member name is. So I assume it was misspelled, so you had to correct that field, the member name. 2.1.4. Okay, here's the next one for that one, not actually 2.1.5. Select province format. So you need to know the average, and you must be able to change the format of that value to a currency, and you have to rename that field as average free from table clubs, group by province having average member fee bigger than 400. So this is definitely the higher level SQL question for the 2021. The rest I don't think is that complicated. This one's about medium. This is the higher one, higher level. This is the easier one. Also feel this update is not that complicated. This one is select month, the payment date as month number. So you need to extract the month and rename that field as month number. Again, there's a format that you need to change. You have to do the sum, and you need to change that to a currency. So that's the same as 2021 format. Over here you need the average. This one you need the sum. Both you need to set as currency, and you need to rename that field from table payments, and you need to group by the payment date, the month of payment date. So again, this is the higher level question of 2018. Okay, this one, select last name format, sum, then a calculation as currency. So in all three question papers we have the format function. So I think the format is definitely important. They did some calculation with sum or average, and then you need to display it as a currency. That's on the higher level question. Okay, you need to rename that field. Okay, this one was from table employees and table hours logged, where, remember, it's from two different tables, so you need to show the link between the two tables. Group by last name. Okay, so if I look at the pattern over here, if I must analyze question 2 as a whole, I would say with your first one you can expect an order by, some kind of order by. You can definitely expect to do something with a where condition, a simple where condition, and then to make it a little bit more difficult, a little bit higher level, expect something like a year, or maybe a wildcard or a distinct. Okay, a wildcard or a distinct, and then you should expect at least one update or a delete or an insert. Okay, if I have to guess, I would go for the delete. It was also asked twice, and the update was only asked once. The insert one is more complicated one of the three. So there's definitely going to be one where you must manipulate the data in the database. And then at the last question, the most difficult one. Okay, I'm not sure whether I said this. Let me just go back. You can definitely expect to have a query where you have to select fields from multiple tables. Okay. This question paper had it. This one had it as well. Over here. And this one. The question where you have to select out of multiple tables. Over here. Here's this one. Okay, so that's definitely going to be asked. I'm pretty sure about that one. And then the last one, the most difficult one, is where you need to know the format. Okay, format. All three of them had the format, and in that format you had to change a value to a currency. Yes, the last one, format, currency, and you needed to use the average or a sum over here functions inside your format. This one also have the having a little bit higher level question, like I said. So if I have to analyze, I would say 2021 was definitely SQL for me, the more difficult question of the three question papers. Okay, because it's the only one having, but the other two, they had group by as well. Okay, so group by month. This one was just group by the last name. Okay, so that's the SQL. Okay, now I'm going to move to the Adotables part of the question. And remember, with the Adotables, you are not allowed to use any SQL. So SQL is only for the first part. The second part is Adotables only. And the first part is add queries only. And I do specify that in the question paper. So in this section, you may only use SQL statements to answer question 2.1.1 to question 2.1.5. And if you go to the next one, they will say in this section only Delphi programming code may be used to answer 2.2.1 to 2.2.3. Okay, so we are with the Adotables now. So let's start with the first one. Okay, so the most basic thing of the Adotables that you must know is it's always going to start at the first record, and then you have to run through your Adotable, and then sometimes you'll have an if statement if you don't want to include everything. Then it's usually either a calculation like add or a display inside your Adotable, and then it's the next, because you need to run through your whole Adotable. So the lines that will be very similar is this one, the table Adotable dot first, then your while not table name dot end of file do. This one might be different. Sometimes you need this one, sometimes you don't, but you're definitely gonna need to do either calculation with the field inside your Adotable, or you will need to display something. In this case, we only needed to display something in your reach edit, and then this one must be there as well, because you need to go to the next record until we reaches the end of the file. So this first part of 2018 was quite forward, nothing too complicated over there. Let's check 2020 again. You had to set it at the first record. You had to run through this whole table. Then again there were a if statement, and this time you had to display something. You also have a counter here, so I assume you needed to count something, a total number of employees with the first aid training. So it was checking here whether the first aid training was done, yes or no. Then it's displayed, and we were actually calculating something at the background, the amount of employees that had first aid training. And then we go to the next record until we reach the end of the file. So both questions quite similar, except for this one was a little bit higher because you needed a counter to count something, where this one only displayed values. Let's go to 2021 question paper. Again, table, you add a table dot first, while not end of file. This time there were no if statement. You only needed to display something, and then we will be going into another table. So the table members this time will be the first record, and then it will start running through the table members while not end of file. If the club ID of the table clubs is the same as the club ID in the members table, we had to do some calculation, then display something. Then we need to go to the next one in the members, then the next one in the clubs. So we're gonna start off with the table clubs, take the first one, compare it to all of those IDs in the table members, and then we'll go back to the second one, compare it again. So basically it's gonna be a link between the two tables where you display the one to many. Okay, so this is a little bit more complicated than the first two question papers, but the concept is the same. You need to be going to your first record, you need to run through your table, and you need to use next to go to the next record. This one you needed to do it twice, and you had to use some calculations as well. Let's go to the second part of it. Over here you have to insert something into your added table, so you must put it in insert mode and then set all the values to the applicable fields. Okay, so this is not very difficult. Only problems that you might have is the field names and the data types, but that is provided in your question paper. So you must just check here in your information sheet of your database information. You can see that the surname is a text field, so you must put it in single quotation marks. That permanent is a boolean. Okay, so you don't need single quotations over there. Employees is an integer or a number, so no single quotation marks. So you can also see the spelling of those fields. Make sure the spelling is correct and the data types is correct. So put it in insert mode, assign your values correctly to the correct fields, and then post. Make your changes to the database. You post it to the database. Let's look at this one. 2020, again an insert. So you put it in insert mode, make sure your field names are correct, make sure that the data types are correct, and then you post it to your database. This one, 2021, you needed to edit. Okay, so you put it in edit mode, then you take the current value, the table hikes completed, plus 1. You take, let's say it was 10 plus 1, so the new value will be 11. Okay, so you are basically updating. So you put it in edit mode, you assign your changes to that field, and then post to make the changes. Okay, 2.2.3 of 2018 was also edit. So put it in edit mode, do your small calculation, and put it into that field, and then post it just to save it to the database. Another edit. Okay, so put it in edit mode, assign. This one was actually, we get this value from the edit box. So the user will enter a value, you put it in a variable, and then you can assign it to that field in your database, and you need to post it again. This one is an insert. Okay, so put it in insert mode, get your values from the variables, assign it to your field names, and then post it. Okay, so if I have to summarize question, the second part of the Adotables is that you definitely need to know how to run through your Adotable by using Adotable.first, a while, maybe if statement, then you're going to display something and you need to go to the next record in that table. All three question papers had this layout: the first, the while, the next. Okay, and all three question papers, you needed to do an insert statement. Insert statement where you insert a new record into the Adotable or the database. And all three question papers, you were supposed to do an edit on a specific field. So you put it in edit mode, you'll get your value, and then you assign it to your field, and then you can post it. So it's the format of the Adotable: first, while, next. You need an insert and an edit. Something that I can maybe ask in the future is also a delete. Delete is a little bit easier, I think, than the edit and the insert, but it's still not, these are not very difficult. Like I said, the only thing that you must focus on is to make sure that the field names and the data types are correct when you insert or when you edit data in your Adotable.